各位来宾，现在我们将进行座谈交流，行动力要深，政府与公民协力合作。Ladies and gentlemen, now we're moving on to the discussion session. The theme is promoting the cooperation between government and civil society. I would like to invite a moderator to take a seat in front. 我们先邀请本场的座谈主持人，台湾 GOV G0V Goal Zero 台湾临时政府共筹创办人高嘉良先生，我们欢迎他。
我讲英文还是中文？搞不清楚。Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this session, and it's my honor to be moderating this session focusing on the collaboration between the government and the civil society. And we will be having 3 foreign guests talking about first about their development of open data in their country and how, if there are any success or failed cases for the collaboration between the government and the civil society. And so first I'd like to welcome Ms. Park from Korea's Open Data Center.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ji-Hae Park from near Korea. First of all, thank you for giving me this good opportunity. And today's presentation is about cooperation between government and civil society. Korea, the open data was started by a high school student who made an app for himself in 2009. He asked the Seoul City Hall for the bus location data to show people when the bus arrives. At first, public officials didn't know why they had to give these kids such public data. They felt very uncomfortable about providing national data to a civilian. The local government inhibited this app from operation because of the sensitiveness of the location data and the copyright law. The citizens strongly protested and the service resumed 2 days later. With this event, citizens acquired a new awareness on open data and began to feel strongly that open data's real owner is not the government but the citizens. Open Data Korea Forum. In July of 2013, it was consisted of private sector, industry, academic circles, research center, and government. It was established to set up the policy for open data release through cooperation between the government and private sector. The Korean government made the program's strategies for the citizens can be an active user of the open data. First, the data Big Bang. This strategy provides high-volume data that citizens want. Second, the service innovation. This strategy restructures government apps which duplicate private sector business. Third, startup collaboration project. This provides full support from idea to business development. First, data Big Bang. Before the citizens demand, the government goes public with the bulk data. Data in 36 areas are getting released, and in this year, data in 10 areas including real estate, business district, and health data are getting released. They created open data standards for high demand data. Until 2014, data in 10 areas including parking lot data are open, and these data are made to follow the same standards. By this standard, data in 100 areas are going to be opened by 2017. Next is service innovation. First, government and private sector must be separated. The case of application that is profitable should be handled by the private sector. The government provides services for the part that have a character of public interest, but that are unprofitable. By this rule, 4,182 public sector websites has been eliminated. Commercial exploitation of the weather data is the best example. This example is about the elimination of the free local specialized service that was provided by the Meteorological Administration. Inhibited the data service of the government sector. Before the government office makes a service act, this must be a confirmation of whether or not there is a similar act that is provided by the private sector. But there were many things that are needed for every people were still later serviced by the government. Finally, the Startup Collaboration Project. Our government manages a cooperated program that is collaborated by each government department for people who are trying to start up with the open data. The government provides special support from idea generation to startup and to development. For instance, the government gives an advice of the difficulties for a startup and provides an investor. Right now, in 2015, the government supported 50 open data startups. This is Korean Open Data Portal. Because of the complexity of local systems, citizens needed to use public data from single source. We find them gather data from individual agencies for their convenience. Finally, we made a single integrated channel for hosting management and opening of public data. The channels for providing open data has changed to user-centered channel. At first, menus are made for uploads from public sector staffs as managers. These got structured into 18 user-friendly menus. Like these ways, Korea trying to promote cooperation with government and civil society continuously. And I'd like to end my presentation with our slogan we use in Korea currently. Creating new world through data. We truly hope and believe that we can create a new world through open data with civil society, not government alone. Thank you for your listening.
Thank you, Mrs. Park, and we'll save some time for maybe I'll ask about some case studies in the private sectors you mentioned in your talk during the discussion. And so our next speaker will be Natawana from Thailand's EGA. The EGA is a government agency that basically works on the e-government in Thailand and is also the driver for the open data effort in Thailand. So I'd like to thank her for sharing the experience that they have in Thailand. This is the change of device.
Oh, good evening, everybody. My name is Antoine. Actually, I'm Chinese, but I was born in Thailand, so ni hao. I didn't prepare everything about open data because my agency is open data. So I just wanted to see what my agency is doing. One of the things that we do is open data, of course, is become open government data. This is a little bit of my my office background. We started it since 2012. You know, we are part of the Ministry of ICT in Thailand. We are kind of center of ICT for all government. Okay, if the government agency needs cloud computing, they come to us. If the agency want an email system, they come to us. You know, so we kind of like become the platform for ICT. This is our mission. There are 4 things that we are doing there, but our vision really is enabling, smart, and of course you can see open government for the people. How do we become an open government? Of course we do need open data to be part of it, correct? The mission is to develop, manage, and provide services, study, research, and provide consulting, because we cannot just give them services. We need to train them and teach them so they can know their own businesses. We can just provide them and then teach them. So that's our consultancy that we also provide. We also train, skill capacity as well. And this is our strategy: transformation, connecting, and collaboration. And last but not least is readiness. We want to make sure that all government agencies will be able to compete with others by become readiness platform for them. This is how we cooperate with other agencies in Thailand. This is where we are. We seem to be the platform, like I said, or infrastructure for everybody. We create standard, guideline, provide infrastructure, consulting and transfer. We also collaborate with ministry. As you can see, ministry is kind of high level for us. So they do policy, regulation, they also do evaluation. We also work with other agencies like e-commerce. We also have done with the customer, which is the citizen itself. We also work with them. And also, this is the other bureau to monitoring. They have evaluation, KPI for all the government agencies. What we have done so far in our services, we have government data center. Everybody can use our data center. Small offices, they tend not to be able to support their own data center, because what happens is they have to invest a lot. It has to be 24/7, as you know. This thing has to be takes a lot of money and also human resources. So small offices might not be able to support it, so they can use our government data center. We also have a government information network. We connect all government agencies together in the intranet. So everybody can talk to each other, everybody can send anything to each other without going to the public network. For instance, ISP, Internet Service Provider. So all the government agencies can be connected to each other. When they talk, they can be sure that the conversation or the document will not go to the public. And also, this one is government cloud. We not only provide them the internet or intranet, we also provide them with system. You know cloud. Anybody know cloud in here? No? Yes? Are we in the room, the same room? Are we in the 90s? That's right. Come on. You have Apple, right? You have Apple Watch, you have iPad. What is the number one? They have you decide. iCloud. Same here. Oh, sorry. But we call it government cloud. Same. Pretty much the same thing. We want to make sure that the government agency, each government agency does not have to pay for their own system if they don't have money, or if some of the service provider, what they do, I don't know in your country, but in my country, what they do is they tend to give the government services with a higher price, right? If the government agency, some of the government agencies big enough, they can negotiate it with a better price. But the small government agency, they have small money, they have less money, so they can't negotiate. What happened? They pay more. We don't want that to happen in our government, so we have our own. You don't need to go and find a system. You come to us, it's free. So this is what we provide. So we don't have to have, okay, one big agency pay certain amount, once a small agency pay certain amount. It's not fair for all. So we want to make sure that. We also have a government certificate authority, GCA. Anybody know about this? There's only one people listening to me. Yes, no? So certificate authority, you know? Can you tell me a little bit? Very nice. If I have token, I give it to you. Anyway, it's a certificate. So when you want to do some, sign in something, you need some kind of certificate authority to verify who you are. You make sure you are A, then do A. You're not A, pretend to be B, or B, pretend to be A, right? So that's something that it's very important in the government business. We have Mail.Thai, which is our email system. Every government officer has to use this system because every conversation still have to be in Thailand. That's the law. Okay? Paperless government, we tend to say that. But really happen in your country? Can you do a paperless? Or less paper? Most likely it will be less paper, right? We still keep paper. I mean, in my office, everybody say, hey, we want to go to paperless. In reality, there's no way because people have to see, have to touch it. So that's happened. We tend to say less paper more than paperless. But we try and go there. We have got e-government portal. It's important because a citizen, they don't know where to go if they want to see about weather, about water, about, I don't know. You come to a portal, you can go anywhere you want. We link every portal in the government for the citizen. And these are some of the security we are doing. Since government security monitoring, we monitor all this intranet connection. We do a capacity building. We have a PMO, which is with the project management office. We want to make sure that we not just only have the project that go along, but we want to make sure we have offices that are responsible for all. And this is the enterprise architecture. You know about anything enterprise architecture? You? No? The only one good student didn't say anything today. I'm in trouble now. So it's like a blueprint. It's like a blueprint for all IT and business together. Okay, so if you want to build a building, what do you have in the first place? You have to have design. You have to have a blueprint where the things are, where the tower is going to be, where the bathroom is going to be, where things going to be. Same thing. The enterprise architecture is the same thing. You need to make sure inventory, what IT inventory you have, what business you're going to go. So you have to have those kind of things as well. These are services that I mentioned earlier. But today we are talking about this, open government data and government big data. The new and just come out in our services is GovChat. You know, you have chat, you chat every day. It's more convenient for us, it's quick, it's good. Government wants to do the same thing. So we have our own government chat that everybody will talk to each other. They say it's 1 minute left, my goodness. I'll just keep skipping. The most important thing, okay, let's see. We have service, software service. We have government app center. You know, just like apps, iCloud, app store, we have our own as well. We call it government app center. We have also come up with the application standard. Because when you build your own application, we have standard for you guys, for our office. Mail.Thai, G-Chat, that's the one, portal. Here we go. Here's the main thing, I have 1 minute left. Anyway, this is old portal. We have data.go.ts, which we come up with, there's 3 things that we do right here. Government, you can download government data. I think this is a guideline, this is the handbook. This is a handbook that we translate from the English version, Open Data Handbook. And this is the guideline for metadata, and all the question and answer. Right now we have about 400 data set, starting for only 1 year. I think it's pretty good. I mean, not like Taiwan, where you guys already have 10,000 or something like that data set. But we keep going up. The first time we had, last year only 5 data sets. I remember 1 year after we had 400, so it's not bad. So this is the thing that we have portal, and we can go in and we can download CSV, JSON, XLS. That's for And this is a mobile application that we get from Open Data Hackathon domestically in Thailand, not international. The two things that we came out with: government information network discovery, blood donation discovery. Where is what? What is in English is temple. So, you know, we have a lot of temples in Thailand, but I don't know where's my closest one. So, you know, we get a latitude and longitude, so we get that. We also done, you know, like this open government data hackathon, also government big data hackathon that we do. It's the data community engagement program that we go to the citizen, we go to the private sector and ask them what they want. And we can supply them with the data. Same thing, we go to the other agency and ask them what do they have, and we can supply to the citizen and the private sector. And this is just happened last week. That's why earlier this morning we have two winners from Taiwan and Thailand. This is Taiwan, this is Thailand team, Ma Muang. And I don't know why they call that, but this is also big data. It's a big thing. Like everybody said, open data is one, big data is another, but they somehow related. Without each other, I don't think there's anything. You know, you have to have a big data, you have to have an open data to be able to get it, to have a variable on it, to analyze this, to predict it, to do something with it. You know, open data alone doesn't mean anything until you know, like Ben this morning, he come up with solution, come up with something. There's something into it. So this is what we do. We have sensor. We do IoT as well in our office. All this sensor, water, you know, and we also have a survey for Internet of Things. And ICT. We also do a data center consolidation in our office. This is the phases. I'm skipping because I think I'm running out of time. This is the new thing that we just came up, this draft, National Digital Economy Committee. Because ICT, time's up. ICT will change to digital economy because the trend is coming. So we want to be a digital economy ministry. So there's a 5 pillar: hard infrastructure, soft infrastructure, service infrastructure, digital economy promotion, and digital society. Those will be our 5 pillars for our new ministry. That's about it. Thank you.
And I guess we can elaborate on some of the success story of using open data in the civil society later in the panel. So our next speaker will be Lin from Indonesia. He's the research manager for the World Wide Web Foundation's Open Data Lab. And as most of you probably know, the often cited OKF and open data rankings. And the Web Foundation has done another study for evaluating the qualities of open data. It's called an Open Data Barometer. And so he will be also covering some of that and some of the efforts they've done in Indonesia. Let's welcome Lin.
Thank you very much. My name is Arthur Glenn and I'm the research manager for the Open Data Lab Jakarta. You probably know our parents organizations, which is the World Wide Web Foundations, the one that works with the Open Data Barometers and other research projects in the countries, in these regions and all over the world. The main message that I wanted to convey in this presentation is that we really need the strong cooperation between government and civil society organizations. And I will give you some examples of how we are in Indonesia doing this particular collaboration with our government in the Open Data Initiative. But before we talk about how important it is for the promoting cooperation between government and civil society, I'll just give you a brief state on how we are in terms of implementing Open Data Initiative in this region. One of the most cited sources of ranking is what we call Open Data Barometer, or ODB. This is on the last year survey, we actually covered 86 countries. So that involves almost like 100 researchers and doing probably 6,000 research works. Actually, 6,000 hours of research work. So, so where we are now. So, if you look at the subset of Asia Pacific, we can see that the country is actually making a progress in terms of open data implementation, from the one in 2013 and the other one in 2014. Indonesia, in this case, is making like the biggest jump in the country of the countries that being surveyed in the Asia Pacific. This is a positive sign. So the countries are making progress. But if you look at this data later, and I will encourage you to go to this website and look at the data, countries are making progress in terms of readiness of implementing Open Data Initiative and implementation, which is availability of data sets are improving actually. But there are still a very rare evidence of the impact of open data. So this is why we need strong collaborations. Let me take you an example from Indonesia case. So if you look at the web charts over there, you can see that the blue line is 2013 and the purple line is 2014 survey result. So if you look at the web chart here, in Indonesia, actually we are improving in terms of availability of data sets. So we have improvement in availability of data sets in social policy as well as innovation. So it's like trade, social policy like health and education. This is also improving. We also have improvement in terms of readiness of business and entrepreneurs in terms of their readiness for the Open Data Initiative. The one that we are lacking is actually the impact, especially on the economy. This score is still 0 in that particular. We're making some progress in terms of social aspect of the impact, but not much on the economy. This is why we still need, even though we are making progress, but we still need more work in terms of realizing the impact of open data. So what we're proposing is that we need a stronger collaborations among the stakeholders. The three main stakeholders that we identify here is that the government itself as a data supplier, the citizen as the intended user, but we also have the other stakeholders that connect the citizen with the users, with the general citizen, which is the open data intermediaries. The intermediaries it can be civil society organizations, research institutions, university, professional associations like TCA and all. So we still need that. And what is our approach in doing all these collaborations? So we base our activities or our approach on these 4 pillars. We call it RITE, R-E-T-E. So it stands for research, innovation, T for training and capacity building, and E for engagement. So these 4 pillars is actually aimed to bring these 2 strands of outputs. One is on the supply side, and the other on the demand side. So that's what we thought about. And we also think that this is also very important, that whatever models that we are using in terms of building a collaboration with the government, it is very, very context dependent. So I would like to emphasize the importance of a context here in building a collaboration between the government and civil society. Let me give you some examples of what we are currently doing in Indonesia. The first project that we are doing right now is in province of Aceh. This is the hardest hit part of Indonesia during the tsunami disaster in 2004. Almost 200,000 people died. So we did some open data projects in education, and we expanded to the health sector as well. So the approach that we are using in these projects is, we call it responsive open data model. It's basically more of a, Open Data Lab in this case are functioning as the intermediary connecting between government and the other civil society organization. So we go to the civil society organizations, we talk to them, what are the data that we need. And then we go to the government to say that these are the data that the civil society needs. Do you have the data? At the same time, we also train these CSO and the governments. For the governments, we train them how to prepare the data. We train them how to publish the data in the open data portal. If they want to build open data portal, we also train them to do that as well. So, and then we gather them together, producing some infographics. We also producing some of the analysis of what we have there. I will show you some example later if we still have time. So new and more insights coming up from this initiative as well. The second model that I wanted to show you is what we implemented in the Jakarta city. This is our capital city. So the ecosystem of open data in Jakarta is extremely different than the one in Aceh, of course. So what we are doing is a little bit different. We think that on the supply side, government has the capacity and the resources, as well as this on the demand side, the civil society also they have the resources and technical capacity to sort of participate in open data initiatives. So what we did is that we approach from the supply side model. So we approach the government, and this is like highly ranking the government agencies, and then they will engage, engage with other smaller government agencies as well. Once they get together, so we provide at the same time training for them to be able to publish the data in an open format. So what we did is that once the data in an open format is available, we also contacted the CSO. So we get together with the other CSO to make use of the data. Currently, we are focusing on the 3 sectors. The first one is transportation. The second one is the procurement, government procurement. And the third one is the urban planning in Jakarta. There is another example of how we build cooperation with government in this case. This is like what we're doing this, and we are taking the role as a trainer actually, so we do not involve directly working in the projects, but we identify the civil organizations that already have some experience in specific sector. Take this case is budget transparency sectors in Indonesia and the Philippines. Those 4 CSO, they have been working in the budget transparency issues for 15 years. So we don't need to train them in the public or in budget transparency, but we actually talk to them and we sort of figure out how open data can actually advance their advocacy. So how can open data fits into this, into their overall projects or overall programs? So that's how that's the open data through CSO empowerment. So these are the 3 models that we observed so far in Indonesia. And once again, it's very important for us to be able to build a strong cooperation between government and civil society in order to, as the ODB said, to make use of the data and produce the impact of open data. And also, I wanted to emphasize that all these approaches are very context dependent. So it's very, very important for other who wants to adopt this to be able to look at their circumstances in their local communities before they would adapt this model as well. So yeah, this is the some of the Web Foundation programs currently we are working on. And I will encourage you all to go to our website and Open Data Labs Jakarta to see, to learn more about us and also about our projects. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Glenn, for sharing the insights to use the data so they can tackle the issues they care about already and use data. And so our next speaker will be Mr. Peng from the Taipei City government. And before he starts his talk, I would like to say that when we started GovZero about 3 years ago, it is the intention to actually create a collaboration platform between the civil society using technology, using data with the government. And 3 years later, actually, they started to use, the Taipei City government reuses the budget visualization tool we built 3 years ago. It took a while, but it's a start for getting the impact from the civil sector into the actual government. So let's welcome Mr. Peng to share the story for both the budget visualization and some other collaboration they have using data with the community. Speakers will be in Mandarin.
不好意思，我可能用中文，我怕那个英翻中文太辛苦了，所以换中翻英，该不会是同一个人吧？不好意思啊，那个投影片基本上我是用同一份的，所以如果刚刚有听过就休息一下，或者说我可能会讲得更精彩，我也不知道。好，这是我们今天要讲的 Open Data Case Study， 然后台北做了什么这样子。那首先呢，就是还是回到一开始，就是昨天有人在谈说 Government 3.0到底是什么。那其实有一个很重要的元素，我们focus 就是说，我们希望 maximize resource 这种资源的极大化。然后另外一个部分就是我们希望开放的，而且是协力合作的，所以跟市民协力合作的。那接下来我会讲一些我最近遇到的这几个月做的 case 这样。第一个就是刚刚有说到，就是我们这个预算视觉化这样子。那这是我原本我们的预算的长的样子，那就是有什么款项募集啊，什么编号这样的。然后那时候其实主计处就开放出去了，然后市长就说，他希望有更多人来看。那当然民间就有人建议说，其实 G0V 高中长这边 G0V 他们之前已经有做了一套预算视觉化，是不是有可能combine在一起呢？所以后来其实我们就有把它们combine在一起。然后，于是这个我们就把我们今年度，应该说明年度的预算，我们用视觉化的方式去呈现。然后有2种图，就用 G0V 那时候他们的2种 view。然后呢，这是我们那时候产生出来的一些结果，可以看到说，圈圈的大小会跟你预算的多寡有关，然后甚至颜色也是跟这是你这预算比去年增加还是减少。有关，那这样大家其实就可以比较一目了然的知道，我整个城市的预算分配。那这边就是很感谢 G0V 这样，就3年后这个扣就是重新复活，然后让我们能做出这样的呈现。那那时候其实对民众的那个民众是觉得很不错的，这是我们台北市市长的脸书，然后那时候其实有107篇的媒体有报道这个预算视觉化。然后877个就是有去了这个 post， 然后2万个赞，然后触及率有到54万6962，然后单篇的一个苹果的报道，这个有到50万，那光网站也有50万的拜访率。那一个政策其实这样能到这样的宣传效果，其实是还算蛮成功这样子。那我们在这个过程中，其实就发现到说，民众可以用他不同方式去了解这个预算。那同时，我们政府单位也可以用不同方式去解释预算。就在今天的刚刚，我本来要出席那个会议，就是我们怎么样，我们把所有 因为这个预算视觉化这个网站，其实它有一个界面可以让民众去留言问说，为什么这预算那么贵啊？为什么这预算那个多啊？它其实有个界面这样问。那后来我们就把这所有问的问题，我们都把它统整起来，然后我们就把府内的各局处有被问问题的就点名，然后大家就齐聚一堂，然后也有民间的人来教我们说，我们要教公务员说我们要怎么样回应市民这些问题。所以刚刚下午其实有这个课程，然后我就来听演讲，真的没办法参加这个课程，对吧？那所以其实政府其实也有改变了它解释预算的一种方式。那透过其实跟社群的合力，其实当时候在市长的命令下，后来其实我们在比如说GNV 的城市嘛，然后再把它翻新跟接上我们的预算的那个科目表，我们用2个礼拜的时间把它完成。那其实这样的模式是可以复制到台湾的其他的县市的，因为像后来高雄、台中、嘉义，他们陆续都开放他们的预算表，然后其实大部分长得不会差异太大，其他城市的界上面就会还算蛮顺利的。这是我们预算视觉化这个 case。另一个 case 是八仙这个气爆案这个事件。那当时候其实这个案件是一个意外。那当时候有近乎500多个人，有这样轻重的烧烫伤这样子。那就遇到一个状况，就是说我把这全部按完。就是伤患其实那时候太多了，然后就很多伤患的家属又在问说，那个就是他很担心他的这个比如说小孩子啊，到底他有没有受伤，他送到哪个医院，然后他们都不知道这样的资讯。那其实我们政府是有拿到一些表单，就是一堆人名这样，然后他可能到哪个医院这样子。那时候其实就是是我们的社会局长，他就是说，你们资讯局可不可以帮忙产生一个系统，可以比较好查到名字，这样家属其实比较好，透过这些系统去赶快确认，要不然你500多个名单在这样一直下滑，然后搞不好中间还成圈什么，就是中间名字也不是完全看得到，所以他可能找的方式找的部分会很难做。所以我那时候社会局长有说可不可以有一个界面系统？那于是说我们就把这个 PDF 想办法转成开放资料格式。那另一部分其实民间也有社群想要来帮这个忙，于是这个资料开放了以后，其实我们就合作了一些查询系统出来。那时候它的一些就是在1个小时内，其实那个搜寻系统基本上就出来了。第一个，那在2个小时内就有10个系统陆续上线。那我们就把它放在官网上，然后让民众可以自己去做查询。那其实这也让那时候其实有分流的效应了，大家不会全部涌入就灌爆了一个网站。那大家有10个的时候就可以自己去找比较好用的网站这样。那单一个网站其实那时候8个小时其实就有30万个人就上去查，所以等于是说这10个系统的总的拜访量是还蛮大的这样子。那在这个之后，其实我们又有召集了卫生局、消防局跟社会局以及社群，我们一起再来讨论说，好，我们今天真的遇到一些灾害之后，我们的资料该怎么样去，我们的 SOP 是什么？其实我们都有再去做一个讨论，因为我还要确定资料的一些性质啊，然后我要放在哪里啊，大家要去哪里抓啊什么的，我们就有开始讨论说，我们这次的这样的事件能带给我们什么的成长这样子。所以说，这个就是我们在这几次的合作以后有一些想法，就是说政府其实它的弹性是不高的，但是而且它没有办法立刻的产生出一些 IT 的系统，而且同时我们的宣传管道也没有那么多，工具没有那么多，对啊。但另一部分其实社群它有它的弹性很高，而且它的 IT 的开发能量非常的强。我相信台湾其实这一块是还不错的。那另外一部分就是他们的宣传管道也多，但是他们差异就是他们没有拿到资料的这个来源。那另外一部分就是资料开放的权责其实会在政府这边要负责。所以说在这个 case 里面，我们基本上我们资讯局等于说扮演一个管道，把 各个局处的资料拿到我们这边，然后我们开放出来，就是用我们的权责去开放出来，而且尽量希望它这个资料的它的形态是比较好去借接社群开发能量的。所以这样在这个过程中，两边就可以做一个合作，然后来处理一些危机这样子。那下一部分就是其实我刚刚其实这样子有一些想法，就是我们跟这样的社群合作，其实我们还是希望这些社群的能量可以延续进来，改变我们政府内部的架构。那像第一个预算视觉化，大家的网友留言，我们还是希望政府有一次面对，然后去回应，好好的回应一下这些网友的留言。然后另外灾害的这部分也是，大家在坐下来谈论说，我们的那个灾害的时候的 SOP， 或是我的资料放的位置到底要在哪？这其实对政府是很有帮助。那所以其实 Open Data 其实已经直接的改变了我们政府的流程的部分。那其实这样的合作，我们在后来的台风苏迪勒，然后案件量非常的大，很多，然后1万多个事件这样。那我们也透过这个开放 EOC 的资料来跟社群合作，有产生出一些对市民有帮助的应用。甚至有一次是在哪一个？苏迪勒下一个，我们坏掉的是哪一个？苏迪勒是好。苏迪勒台风的时候，那时候其实我们发生一个危机事件，就是突然市府的官网坏掉了，然后呢，就是记者就开始complain说为什么他们都看不到最新发生的事件有什么？那我就觉得哇，那怎么办？然后我就确认说，到底坏掉环节是在哪？是坏掉环节是在网站吗？还是说坏掉环节是在资料的来源呢？后来发现坏掉是网站，不是资料来源，而且还好我们早就开放了资料来源。所以民间早就有很多系统也同时呈现了这些事件，所以我们立刻就把导到这个网页的 link， 把它 forward 到民间社群的网站，所以记者就不complain了，因为那个我们只花10分钟就处理这件事情，所以他们就可以直接去看民间社群的网站，就解决了我很大的危机，因为后来这个网站花了1个半小时才修好，如果真的只有那个平台的话，我们就一定会上报，所以就是开放资料其实是在实战上是有很多的好处。对，那接下来我们还在着手有跟民间要做一个类似虚拟演练这样，我们有设定一个脚本，然后呢每个脚本有很多的情境，在这个情境里面会遇到什么，需要什么系统，需要开放什么资料，这是我的下一步想要跟民间社群一起合力做，已经讨论过，而且想一起去执行的。那另外一个就是灾害回报的 API， 就是我们希望不只是政府可以去回复说哪边已经灾害已经回复，是民间也可以帮我们回应说这个路数其实倒塌已经排除了什么，我们希望做一个 API， 让民间也可以回馈这些资讯给我们。那这是我们接下来台北市政府要做的事情。那我的分享大概到这里，谢谢大家。
Thank you, Mr. Experience on collaboration with the civil society. And our last speaker before we enter the panel will be Jian Hongwei. Is the director for IT in the central government, the National Development Council, and overseeing all the development of open data policies and implementation across all agencies. So he's been working on this for a long time and has a lot of story to share with you. Let's welcome Mr. Jian.
既然小朋友用中文，那我就自然的就用中文，这样比较快。那个我刚才其实我非常赞成，就是台北市政府所讲的。如果各位不介意，我比较轻松讲，因为毕竟我只是讲10分钟，所以我可以轻松一点。就是说，基本上我非常赞成，就是政府其实不能什么都做，因为政府没有那样的资源。所以其实我觉得是政府跟民间大家把分工讲好。所以我其实很坚持一件事，就是政府做什么，把资料顾好。其实把资料品质做好，服务让民间做好，所以其实我在推动 Open Data 的时候，其实我的概念就是这样子，因为政府没那么多资源，那民间有资源，善用民间资源，而且重点是怎么让民间的资源跟政府的资源能够持续的下去， 那我认为这样子才是一个所谓我们在讲所谓的数位政府的一个概念。所以在国发会这一边，好，那国发会其实我们的功能很简单，我们负责的其实就是出嘴巴。所以出嘴巴就是我定规范、定标准，我们追踪管考别人做了没，我们告诉别人你要做什么。好，所以基本上我们是做这样的一件事。所以呢，我这个部门我负责的是资讯的部分，所以中央政府的资讯的计划，我们会去看。你如果需要经费，我们会去看你的计划，我们会决定要不要给你钱。所以我们透过这样的一个方式来管制政府的资讯计划是在一个方向里边。好，所以 Open Data 跟 Participation 是我们现在的两大支柱。好，那在我们电子化政府的一个推动，其实从1998年的时候开始推，一直到现在。那很重要的一点是在我们中间的过程中，好，在这个 U 台湾之前，其实我们都 focus 在技术面。好，那从 U 台湾之后，我们开始在 focus 什么？治理面。什么叫治理？我们 focus 在政府够不够透明？好，政府机关的权责是不是清楚？效能好不好？还有民众愿意不愿意参与政府的运作，这个是我们现在在做的。那我们再看 UN 里面，其实他在讲，他去评估一个电子化政府的一个 index 里面，就谈到e-participation， 其中呢，包括到怎么样利用资讯做决策资源，怎么样让资讯对等。好，也就是说，其实当我们在谈参与的时候，很重要一点，我知道的你不知道，这样我们谈不下去。所以政府必须有这个义务，把所有的资讯开放出来，必须把所有的资料公布出来，让民众用。当民众跟政府有对等的资讯的时候，有对等的资料的时候，两边才能够对谈。所以这个是我们要做。为什么我们在推资讯的公开？为什么我们在推政府资料的开放？其实我们要做一件事，让政府跟民众的资讯是对的，不要造成不对称。不对称其实就不能讨论。好，这是我们想做的。所以呢，在资料开放的部分，那我们在这几年持续的推动，然后当然我们很坏，我们 push 各部会去做。那部会从刚开始气得牙的，到现在其实部会其实是主动开放出来。那开放在整个开放的过程中，各位会发现，好，刚开始我们要求大家，你从数量，你冲数量，因为我们认为资料的开放不是技术问题，它是文化问题，是你的心态上接不接受。你不要什么都跟我讲说这是机密，这是公务机密，这是敏感的。没有，对我来讲，除了军事跟个资，还有法律规定不行以外，政府没有资料不能开放。好，你告诉我为什么政府的资料不能开放？告诉我。所以这也是我们这跟部会在谈。所以譬如说 ETC 的资料，譬如说政府的预算的资料。好，那其实政府预算的资料蛮有趣的。刚开始副院长在问主计总处说，政府预算可不可以开放？主计总处说可以。那副院长问他多久？那时候是4月5月吧。主计总处说，到年底大概要8个月的时间。副院长说太久了。然后这时候呢，副主计长讲好2个礼拜。所以后来2个礼拜以后，政府的预算就用 XML 的方式释出。所以后来你们的 case 我就觉得很奇怪，没有去追。因为你们的主计主任是主计总处去的，照理讲他应该知道。然后因为在 XML 的资料释出的过程中，我们就发现不止中央部会的资料释出，审计部的资料也释出，因为主计是一条边，所以他的审计部的资料、考试院的资料全部都释出。好，所以地方政府的部分我们现在也正在了解，就是说为什么主计一条边他没有做。好，那这个是我们想要了解的。所以接下来我们怎么做？好，在 Open Data 的部分，我们大概有3个策略。第一个就是我们建立政府资料开放咨询的2级制的概念。好，第二个呢，就是让这个政府跟民间有更多的合作，也就是说，政府去把资料的品质顾好，让民间去发展。那还有最后一个就是建立一个开放的环境。其实资料开放里边涉及技术的部分，坦白讲不多，大部分是什么文化，另外一个什么授权。好，所以我们在讲5颗星的时候，1颗星的定义是什么？各位也许会讲说PDF 什么？不是，重要是授权，你的权利干净不干净，你可不可以允许人家利用？好，所以在资料开放的机制里边，我们在行政院建立一个 院级的这个资料开放咨询的工作小组，里边呢是由资讯长领军，然后有法务部，好，还有包括经济部，还有国发会，好，财政部等等，好组成。那很重要的一个概念，它不是全部政府的人，它还必须包括民间的人。这也是我们当初跟民间在谈的，你资料的开放必须跟民间协商，不是你政府说不开放就不开放，你要跟民间协商。好，那什么不开放？你不开放的原因是什么？讲清楚。好，那我们院级成立这样的咨询工作小组，那部会我们也要求各部会也要成立。好，那部会底下所属不要成立，就全部到部会就好。那一样，部会里面我们要求就是部会里面也必须由资讯长，好，部会的资讯长领军，那把所有的业务单位、资讯单位都必须拉进来，还有必须找民间，好，是我们要求规定。那所有的这些工作小组的成员必须公开在 DataEconomy.Taiwan 上，连会议记录都必须公开。我们要让大家知道彼此做什么。那后来我们也跟民间在谈，就是说可不可以由民间出一个 SOP， 不要让每一个咨询工作小组的民间的代表彼此是散弹打鸟。我们希望彼此都有一个做法，这样子其实从各层下来，大家才会有一致的做法。那在授权的部分呢，好，我们其实以往我们有一个平台的使用规范，那个也是跟民间讨论出来的。后来我们有一个第2版，很不幸的遭到大家大力的反对，所以后来那个版本就没有推出。好，那后来呢，我们第3个版本就是现在最新的这个版本，我们参照的 CC 的精神，跟民间一起，好，机关也同意了，这是我们现在所谓的政府资料开放平台的第1个授权的版本。那它是跟 CC 相融。好，那我们希望透过这样的方式，让我们所有的资料，机关开放不担心，民众使用也是可以放心的。好，那我们里面很重要的一个概念呢，是把资料分清楚。只要是涉及 Open Data 的部分不收费，你完全可以自由使用。如果必须收费的，那它有它的限制条件，你必须讲清楚。这是第2类资料。第3类的资料就是完全不能开放的。好，那我们把这些线讲清楚，大家就会容易。那第4个部分，我们第4个策略呢，就跟民间的合作。因为同样的，虽然政府建立一个资料开放的平台，可同样的，是不是一直要政府来维运？我们的想法是不应该。好，所以我们希望跟民间有更多的一个合作，到最后政府只要把资料释出就可以。好，那举例来讲，这是2015的时候登革热好的这个地图，那同样的它也是透过资料的开放，让民间去做这些服务出来。好，那各位其实也可以想想，如果是政府机关做这些哦，你从开标采购哦，你花的时间决定以后啊，大概登革热已经没了。好，所以其实速度上，其实民间有足够的速度，政府有足够的资料，两个让它结合在一起，不要什么都政府做。那这个是我们最近记者会里边提出的。好，那民间成立一个台湾资料开放中心。好，那他把政府的资料 copy 分过去，做整理、做标准化，让民间来使用。好，那它不是第一个，在我们资料开放平台上线的时候 ，G0V 好，他们就已经先做了一个版本。好，做 G0V 版的 Data.Gov， 我们都 OK 的，因为政府资料其实是属于大家的。好，所以任何人要接都可以。好，那 TODC 它是提出来，它要这么接，它要提供民众来使用 ，OK 的。所以呢，它会把政府的所有资料放到它那边，在它的环境提供大家来使用，在它的一个环境底下，所有政府的资料全部 list 在那边。那它的机制上就是跟政府完全保持及时的同步。好，那这是我们所乐见的。我们希望逐步的到最后，政府的 Data.Gov.Taiwan 甚至完全由社群来经营，这也是我们看到其他国家有类似的做法。所以我还是回到那件事，政府该做的事就是把资料的品质顾好，资料品质好的让它开放出来，创意活力其实都在民间，让民间发挥最大的一个效用，这样也才会有产业。好，那这也会有更多的一个创新。好，以上就是国发会这一边针对 Open Data 的一个 policy 的一个方向，谢谢。
Thank you, Director Jim, for sharing the strategies that in the center for pushing open data over the past few years. So we will now be entering the panels. Would the panelists please come over and have a seat? Well, I have some questions for the speakers today. But I would like to just open the question to the floor. If anyone has a question that want to address to a particular speaker, then please welcome, raise your hand. And 也可以用中文发问。我想先收集一下什么问题，可以请问今天的讲者。So I think we had quite an interesting introduction and overview for the use of open data. One of the main points several of you covered is that the making the private making the service delivery to the private sector. So the public sector does not like publish or maintain all the platform services that the citizen requires to use. I think Mrs. Park mentioned that the open data effort in South Korea is also doing that, making the civil society or the private sector delivering service based on the data rather than the government having to do that. And Mr. Peng's case for the explosion accident is also the same thing for not having the government to work on the platform or search for written or that kind of information. So I have a question for this, because we all know this is really good for not making users platform and in the slow process of government. But what if one service that should be delivered is not like developed by the private sector? How do you determine what should be still maintained by the government? What should be like we just publish data and everything else should be done by the private sector? And then what if the quality is not good enough or there's an error in that? How do you like make that as an official service if it's not to be delivered by the government itself?
We have one example in Korea. Nowadays, we want to find the startup or new venture company that is using the open data. So I just tried to find the company and did the research work, and I found one startup company, but he said until last year we tried to using the open data, but they had some problem to using the open data, sort of like money problem or something like that. So we didn't know about that until that meeting. So we could find the problem, what is the problem, or how can we help the companies. So we still try to meet other companies, something like that kinds of cases, and we want to find the solutions to solve their problems continuously.
Your question is about well, I agree with Dr. Howard when he talks about that the government should be the platform or making sure the data is clean and is quality to it could be, the best it could be. To everything else should run by the citizen or private sector to be able to generate anything that could happen, innovation or application or visualization or anything. This morning you have seen only one person, Mr. Ben. He had just get some data from anything, anywhere he could get, but you can see New York City have changed from his comments or from his finding, and he even invests himself by, if you heard it, he was saying that he actually get the service from Amazon and actually download the data from the government and keep it historical data record. That because he interested and he wants to do it, and that's, I think, is how it could be. It should be. You know, the government should prepare the data to its best quality that we can do. The rest should just be the citizens or the public sector that can imagine or can do something. The service level, we can agree on that the data has to be the best quality. But the rest of it, I think, just go on with the citizen itself.
Oh yeah. Okay. We have a research project. Actually, this is a research project that runs in 17 developing countries, and what we have seen so far is that the developing countries have three models of innovations. One is the government-led, second one is the CSO-led, and the third one is the private sector-led. But they have, in the case of Indonesia, for example, the whole ecosystem of open data is still developing, and so we haven't seen which of the models that are really prominent in our country. So because the whole ecosystem, as I mentioned earlier, is still developing, but we are pushing towards more private sector involvement, as well as the CSO involvement in our open data innovations. Thank you. So those two pillars, I think, CSO as well as the private sectors are the keys to the future of development of open data implementation in our country.
我希望我没有误问你问什么，你刚刚问什么？我写了，但是我怕我误会你问的问题。
我刚刚主要意思是说，就是说我们就是一个美好的世界，是说我们政府只maintain data，那像是我们刚刚这个查询病患都由民间来做。
OK。对，
那就是我们如何去界定那个有些事情，它如果说政府不做，然后民间也没有人做，那这件事是就不重要了，或者是就没有人可以做了。对，那怎么去界定这个范围？
我还是用中文哦，就是我觉得这就是战斗系统跟企业系统的分别了。那我觉得像刚刚那个资料视觉化或者是灾害的，这比较理想性，跟民主有关或者跟这个灾害之间有关，时间很短，我觉得那个比较就我们，然后或者是资料单纯借接就可以做的，我觉得比较适合跟社群这边合作。那我觉得还是有很多系统是政府这边要开发的，比如说它可能牵涉到很复杂的资料借接，比如说我举出一堆的一些 APP 什么，你要整合起来，像这种苦工其实比较适合政府这边来推，或者说它没有那么急促的服务。但是我现在待在政府单位里面，不好意思，害大家OK， 我现在待在政府服务，我发现一件事情，就是我觉得政府还是需要有自己的开发能量会比较好。就是说，你可能可以自己如果有开发能量，其实你可以做一些 prototype 出来。那你做 prototype 出来，其实你在跟厂商谈的时候，你比较方向可以抓住。要不然你今天只是用一些标案的方式，文字去写一写，最后长出来就会跟你想的完全不一样。然后到时候你也没有办法了，时间也不够了这样子。所以这是我对跟社群合作或是政府开发的一些的想法，这样蛮好的。不好意思。
So I think what was I going to say? Sorry, lost in translation. So Mr. Peng mentioned that there should still be some development or like the IT capacity inside the government, so the government knows better than what sort of system they want to procure. So that also brings us to the IT procurement policies in every country. I think this is a pain point for every country, because often you get a requirement and you get something totally different, right? And so I think open data sort of solved the problem halfway, but the other halfway is still like everyone's still trying hard to to get to the ideal place. And so is there anyone 有没有人想要问问题？虽然简处长没有在台上，也可以问他。这边这位，好。
刚刚提到就是在民间协助在资料上面的应用，那我不晓得其他国家有没有在产出资料的部分，那个民间社团他们有没有协助？各位知道我是来自特征中心，那特征中心我们有很多资料是来自民间社群，还有包括网络上，他们协助我们做收集。那我不晓得除了资料运用民间的力量之外，那资料收集在其他国家有没有利用到民间的力量？谢谢。
So, beyond data application, is there like a crowd or citizen collaboration in the data collection process you can see? We talked about a lot of the collaboration for the use of data applications. What about data collection? When you produce data, is there like a model for collaboration with the civil society, like collecting data, producing data, not just within the government, but also from the ground, from the civil society? If you can comment on some model you know about, or not necessarily in your country, but.
Serious past. But okay, in Thailand, what we work closely with private organization and also with developer as well. We also what we have done is with collecting data. Well, this is another thing is IoT, Internet of Things, because there's a lot of sensor that happening, whether in agriculture. The farmer wants to know the quality of soil, the quality of water, so they have sensor of their own now where they're going to put the data. So we want to collect their data to us, to government. Now those are raw data, so we can get those raw data and process the data and get back to them. So they can actually understand the raw data. And we probably mix with our data, which is the official data from meteorological department. So it's confirming that their data and our data, and then we come up with the real usable data or information for the farmers. So those are the things that we also work with the citizens, also with the, whoever they like to work with us. We have those projects as well. We also have projects like crowdsourcing and crowdfunding that we are working with a startup company that they do have some information or data that want to provide it to us, and we can give them the money or some sort of the startup thing for them or training for them and vice versa. So we do a lot in that term as well with the citizen.
Before I can quickly comment, the gentleman is from the Endemic Species Center, and so they have an interesting project called Roadkill project that asks people to find the corpse of species of animals, just to sample that and send it to them, so they can record what species is appearing in which part of the country. And I think this is the kind of collaboration he refers to. So basically.
Right. Just gonna add to that. In our experience in Indonesia, we also still have an issue with having public sector or private companies open up their data. For instance, right now there are a lot of interest in mobile telecommunication company open their data, or credit card companies open the data as well. We also have one unique case in our city, in Jakarta, where there is waste, the application waste application waste where we monitor the traffic. So we actually the city government actually want that data to be open, that there's still a problem with sort of proprietary information from the company itself. So yes, we still need private sectors to open up their data, but in the current state, we still have a problem.
Mr. Peng, are there any planning techniques for data collection from the citizen?
现在目前其实1999某种程度算吧，就是民众的抱怨，然后我们把它收集起来，我们也有就是最近有公开了。然后另外一部分就是其实另一个 case 就是有民众愿意帮你整理资料，就是说像我们那时候一个淹水地区的那个地的范围，那其实民众有帮他又转成一个可能更好利用的格式。那我们也是有看到这个现象以后，然后我们就有问那个社群的朋友说，愿不愿意，可不可以也给我们放在我们的平台上面？那他也 OK。所以其实我们的资料，如果民众有再把它转移到别的格式，而且更好利用，我们其实会再跟它做进一步的结合。那其实我觉得未来还是想朝这方面努力，就是可能有一些私人单位的资料，我也想说结合起来，特别是文化或者是社会福利机构这种，其实很多民间资料如果都能收集起来公开，会对市政我相信也有很大的帮助。那但这也要文化局或社会局也有这样的共识，我觉得这块就比较难一点。
Generally in Korea, all agencies have open data, and they usually offer the open data portal online, so the people can use by online. And usually government have competition or hackathon, so we found the application or startup. So after the hackathon or competition, we try to support them, and the specific policy, of course, we have, but I cannot explain it here. So, yeah, that's.
Thank you. Do we have more questions from the audience? 现场还没有想要提问的。如果没有的话，我继续问。So like from the discussion, we want to improve like the general service to the citizen with open data and in a better technology or in a more timely fashion. So but that also depends on the service provider, either the private sector or some voluntary work to be sustainable. So how do you see that happening if there like no sustainable way for the volunteer to continue to work, or the private sector is not making money off the service that delivered based on the open data? How do you envision the open data ecosystem to continue to work? I mean, there needs to be some sustainable way for the service providers, right?
In Korea, we have some system called PSC. The PSC try to find the problem, their problem, and then we first we listen their problems, and then we try to solve directly. But if we cannot, we just report the government or the committee. So we try to solve the kinds of problem.
It's a very good question. I think in Thailand we have a program called Incubator. So I understand that if the startup or the private sector use the data, open data, and it's not succeed or something failing, or so it's destroy the ecosystem of the open data. But what we in the government try to do is we have incubation program. So we not only just give them the best quality of data, we also training them to use the data, how to visualize, how to come up with the application or some software development. We give them tools, not only just the data, we give them tools as well, how to write JSON or how to write XML or how to sustain your own knowledge or to compete with other. Because it's going to be a lot of SME or startup or even developer that are trying to do all this. So the government put the money on this program to make sure that all of the startup or developer sustain their own businesses or trying to offer their services to citizens or even the government.
I assume the question is about the sustainability of the open data program or initiatives. So I'll just back to the three models that I mentioned earlier of open data initiative. One is the government-led, the other is private sector-led, and the third one is the CSO or civil society organization-led model. Of all these three models, what we have observed so far, CSO-led model is the one that is very, very difficult to sustain. The government-led model, as long as it fits to the government agencies, and it can actually sustain. So I assume this is also related to the funding and so on. For private sectors, it should be when you find the right business model for your innovation, then I think it will always be able to sustain those innovations. The CSO is the issues, and what we have experienced so far is that you need to integrate this CSO innovation with these other two, government or private sector. So what we have seen is that, like for example, in our case, in one of the cities in Indonesia, Yogyakarta, they're basically doing this budget transparency publications, so analysis of budget, city budgets, and the city government actually got interested in those analyses and actually and then signed a memorandum of understanding with this CSO, and then say that okay, we will adopt your analysis and into a city program, and then we will publish it annually, year after year. So that's how it can sustain. So the main question or the main challenge is the sustainability of the CSO-led innovations actually, and we need to integrate that with the government or with the private sectors to be able to sustain that innovation. Right.
我发现这一题对我来说有点难，就是我传承一下，我上次去上海跟他们做交流，然后他们其实是产发局跟资讯局有点类似合在一起，所以他们会有一个比较一条龙的方式去协助这个企业的那个，比如说funding，然后或者工作的地方，然后到后续的比如像我这种 open data， 就是资料其实基本上他们都是同一个单位，但是在台北市政府这边，它其实是基本上是切开的，所以这些资金的部分其实比较像产发局这一块在做，那我就对这块比较不熟悉，但是我们这一块基本上，如果今天还是以给资料的方式来协助了，就比如说有个例子就是民间有一个重企业，它是做那个友善餐厅，然后接下来他又做了个友善的交通这个部分的 APP， 那他们其实要的不只是一般的公车的一些资料，他还有跟我要低底盘的公车是有哪几台，然后捷运哪一个出口有接低底盘公车，捷运什么时候它的场站是维修的，就是它的业务也会随它的这个 APP 的受欢迎而渐渐的扩展，但是它扩展到什么时候需要什么资料的时候，基本上都会跟我们提了。那我们基本上就是在资料上面去做一个支援的这样的动作，这样子。我们资讯局大概做到这个，那不知道国发会有没有相关的？
不要再提，没关系。你要comment一下吗？
我觉得它就是
sustainable，
对，帮助这些用开放资料来做事业的人。
我们现在是这么做啦，就是说，在国发会这一边的话，我们其实跟工业局合作，就是说，像你刚才讲的，因为它是分成2个体系，所以在国发会我们在分工上就负责政府资料开放，但是我们跟工业局合作，工业局它去协助产业，所以我们是透过这样的一个方式。那它协助产业的方式又包括说透过计划、透过竞赛等等。那在中间怎么去连接起来，就变成说工业局它会去问，譬如说业界它需要什么资料，那它会给我们，那我们会把机关找来，就是说，就会让他们去对谈，说你为什么不开放这个资料？譬如说 EPC 的资料，譬如说食品的资料，譬如说教育的资料、药品的资料，其实很多都是通过这样的方式来处理。那但是我们也发现到，在这个情况里面，其实国内的业界有一个概念是，所谓的 open data 是你要把我要的资料全部整理好。那这个其实我觉得也是蛮好的，就透过这样的对谈，让民间也知道说，其实资料的整理是你业界要去整理，那政府是把我基于我的职权收集的资料开放。那其实我觉得这就是一个不只是 promote 对企业以外，我觉得也是一个 awareness 的一个概念。
会有资料整理这个产业出来。
是，我认为那个产业，所以对我来讲，我认为说，如果我们谈 open data， 其实2个面向，一个是 transparency， 对不对？那是政府该做，另外一个是对民间所谓 economic 这一块。那 DPP 不会是个产业，对我来讲 ，open data 不会变成一个 APP 的产业，但是 open data 会造成什么产业？平台产业、借接产业、API 产业。我的看法是这样。
Thank you, Jen, for your comments. So I think we're running out of time. Do we have a final question from the audience? Otherwise, I will ask the panelists to summarize the session today. Would you like to give a one-sentence summary for the?
我也觉得他都第一个回答很可怜，所以我就把麦克风拿着就最后一个手简单。OK， 就很开心能跟大家分享这个。就北市府这次做了这些东西啊，那将来如果大家有什么想要挖出来的资料，也麻烦给我一些建议，这样子我会继续努力。对。
I think yes, as the theme of these sessions is that we still need stronger collaboration between government and all these civil societies in order to deliver the impact of open data.
One summary. We will host this seminar in Thailand next year.
I think using open data and opening data is also very difficult, but I think the most important thing is the sharing our experiences. So this forum is very great honor for me, and thank you very much.
Thank you all very much. So the organizer asked me to present you a little gift. So do you care to stay for a little bit?
Yes, let us invite Mr. Gao to give out the group photo for us.